Hello everybody, my name is Solo. Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be testing out some new units. So let's go ahead and equip 0 units here because I want to test out the brand new units from the new event. Now, as you guys can see from my collection, I have no mythics and no secret. Surprise, surprise, when they put the mythic at 1.4% and the secret at 0.1%. As far as the king crabs, I'm not too far off of getting king crabs. I just want to get the shiny Wumbo. That's why I don't have them yet. But yeah, with that being said, let's get into it. So firstly, we gotta, of course, pick up certain characters now. We're gonna, of course, sort this by rare, epic, and legendary because that's where our characters are gonna be. So the first character, of course, we're gonna pick up is, of course, Sir Patrick, because of course can't have this without Sir Patrick. And also the other, which is also in the legendary category, which is going to be the Dark Knight, if I can find my other version of the Dark Knight, which I don't know why it's bugging out. We're just gonna type in Dark Knight. I think I only have one. All right. So we can take legendary off the list. Now we can go ahead and add on my shiny Wumbo, Planktonomor, or however you say his name. We are also going to add on, where is it? The Pearl from the update. Yeah, Princess Pearl. Right here. Now that's only 4. We have 5 because if we just look at rares, we have a 5-star Squidly, and we'll feed him a little bit just to get him up a few levels here. Well, bam. Now he's looking pretty spiffy, if I do say so myself. And then finally, we're just going to bring in a Krusty Krab just so then we can level up our units. We're just going to go into an endless mode and show you guys kind of like these different characters and how they interact with endless mode and talk about different things. Also, I think people misunderstood my video about Anime Rangers X. My video wasn't, oh hey, I'm impatient because I can't wait for an update to come out. My video was, hey, the devs that are acting like this is some sort of like edgy content to, you know, go from having over 100,000 people playing the game to having less than 30,000. Maybe y'all should focus on the game instead of posting edgy content to your Discord. Just FYI. That was the whole point of that video. It seemed like they were too busy posting on Discord some edgy stuff about being down and people like underestimating them or something like that, and I was like, dude, just work on the game. I had some kid come into that same comment section trying to talk about, well, if you can't wait 2 weeks for an update, then you need to reevaluate, to be honest. And it's like, firstly, hasn't been 2 weeks. It's been almost a whole, like, month. About 3 weeks and a few days, I want to say. Because I also include the time the game was down because they can work on the game while it was down. Look at Stud Tower Defense. They worked on the game while it was down too. But instead of working on the new update, they decided that they needed 2 remodels that ended up pushing the game further out to being re-released. And then the update, of course, is, well, super delayed by a few weeks. Anyway, a lot of the time I'll get those comments, and then if you push back against them, they'll turn around and start throwing out something like, oh, well, name me some games that have updated every week and still are popular. And I literally threw out games that were popular like that update every week, which is like, you know, your pet sim, your pets go, your ALS, which they try to say, oh, ALS updates every month. No, I've seen it update every week before. So try again, buddy. And then I threw out this game, and he's like, I'm like, it's not at, you know, a year yet, but it's also updated almost every week. And he's like, oh, well, that game's just a meme. That doesn't count. It's like, dude, you're nitpicking the examples I'm giving you. Like, if you're coming into my comment section and then nitpicking like the examples I'm giving you, you're not looking for an actual like valid discussion. You're looking for just a way to be like, well, I'm right no matter what. Like, you're not here to discuss, you're here to act like you're right. And in this case, like, you got your information wrong to begin with, and then turn around and try to act like saying, oh, Name Me Games was your trump card, which, again, if you start acting like that in my comment section and then I start saying, hey, that has nothing to do with what we're actually talking about, and you keep on it, I'm gonna just hide you from the channel, because there's no point in talking with you further if you're just gonna say the same thing over and over and over again, because we're not on the subject that we are going to be talking about at that point. We're on a different subject. It's just ridiculous. And to be honest, it goes back to the whole thing I talked about with like anime tower defense fans. Mind you, there are some that aren't like that. For example, Ultimate Tower Defense, which I know I haven't made a video on it in a little bit. I've been kind of bouncing everywhere recently. But Ultimate Tower Defense is pretty cool about a lot of things. Like, some of the anime like tower defense fans are like super toxic. I just leave that to the fact that there's a good like chunk of anime fans in general that are super toxic. I mean, just look at how a certain chunk of anime fans reacted to the ending of My Hero Academia. Like, that tells you a lot of what you need to know. But yeah, that video was just basically me talking about the fact that I think they need to focus on updating the game and getting new content out and having a decent amount of content for people to digest before they sit there and try to do not only like an update, but also like a rework of a metric ton of the models in the game and shiny units, because then people are gonna get irritated when their game isn't updating in almost a month and the devs are sitting there like, it takes time. And it's like, yeah, time you've wasted redoing a model that frankly, honestly, nobody asked for. Like, there was even people who talked about like the models being messed up after it came out. But I'm off on a tangent. Let's talk about these units. So the big thing with Squidly is a line unit, which means I don't know if Squidly would fall into where like someone like Bandgeek Squidward would fall in, because let's be honest here, rares start losing value once, like in team, not actual value, once their typing isn't like full AoE. And that's just the thing with how the game works, because a lot of the time people will put like a Squidward here that has a big enough range that's gonna like just sit there and take out a bunch of people. So while I do like that Squidly has, you know, a decent amount of damage as a line unit, it's still not anything compared to some of the other line units we've seen in the past. An example, you know, the Bandgeek units, unfortunately. And I know I keep referencing the Bandgeek event, but the Bandgeek units do a lot better than a lot of the units they keep coming out with that are less than Mythic and Secret. And again, this just further shows that it seems like the devs have more of a priority of getting the big ticket units a decent stat range, while your rares, epics, and legendaries are kind of suffering for it. And while yes, you can say, oh, but they did a whole thing where they upgraded the viability of those units. And to that I say, A, these guys are level 1. Well, most of them are level 1. And B, most of the units they come out with that are mythic and secret in the last, like, I don't know, like, month, absolutely stomped most of these units I have out right now. Like, secrets aside, because secrets are kind of like your outlier, especially when it comes to rarity. Squidly gets stomped by both Sandy and Squidward from the Bang Geeks event. But it's not a bad option if you're starting out on the game. But again, getting your hands on Squidly means you also have to do the raid. And these units I feel like should be a bit better because of that. Not because, you know, or they shouldn't be this bad when it's at 5 stars. And I even leveled Squidly a little bit before I even came in here. And this is just ridiculous. Like, mind you, they're taking out these guys, but that's because I have a whole cluster of them. But I have 4 Squidlies, and only they're doing 4,000 damage. And I'm pretty sure that like the AoE Squidward does more than that. And I know the Sandy did more than that before the updates. So, not too sure what their deal is with that, with their rare units. Princess Pearl, Squidly is the only rare. I forgot. Princess Pearl, same thing. Splash unit. Splash units have kind of been hit or miss. If you have like someone like Bert, who has poison, his Bert's splash is a lot better than most splash units because of the poison, whereas a regular splash unit that does less than Squidly but isn't leveled, so probably does more than Squidly with less stars, but still has quite a decently bad cooldown, being a second in 1.8 seconds. But I will give it to them, they did give this unit quite a bit of range, even though it is a shiny unit. I think the one that I'm mostly disappointed by is the fact that this guy, Planktonomore, with Secret Formula, is kind of like not as good as I would want him to be. He's a good unit, don't get me wrong. If you're early mid game, he's a pretty decent unit. But the fact of the matter is I only have him 2-star. I have him with Secret Formula, and he's doing less than Squidly right now. Like base as an epic with Secret Formula. And while yes, you can say, well, Squidly, you know, he attacks twice as often as Squidly, meaning he does 6,000 or 7,000. It's still a weird thing to have his base be so low, especially with him being a line unit, which notoriously we've seen line units be better. And another thing I've noticed about a lot of these units is line, 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 splash, splash. And I don't remember exactly. I think the Mythic is a line unit. I believe Mr. Krabs is a splash unit. And I believe the Dungeon Master is a line unit. So I've noticed a pattern here. There is like no AoE units in this drop of units. Like at all. See, and when we move from Planktonomore all the way to the legendaries, it's still kind of wah-wah, because like, again, the range is nice, don't get me wrong. Range is always good, especially on different units, but it's not everything. It's always good to have good range, but without good damage and a good cooldown, the range doesn't do overly too much. And to be honest with you, with how all these units are presented versus how like the mythics and the secret is presented, since the secret is literally considered one of the best units in the game, even though it is a line unit, which really doesn't super matter because Cyborg Plankton is a line unit. It makes me kind of wonder what their thought process was for units below Mythic when they were designing, because don't get me wrong, they have some cool animations. I think, you know, Patrick's is cool. I think Planktonomore is cool. I love the like fire blast that the Dark Knight aka Sandy's doing, and then I also like some of the animations for Squidly and Princess Pearl. However, it still doesn't get me over the fact that it seems like they're very much intending these units to be supplemental in this drop, and the real units like people would want to go after would be the mythics and the secrets, which based on rarity would be fine if it wasn't a pain to get those units in this mode, because not only does it make it again less free to play friendly, but it also makes it very much even more grindy to get a small chance at getting a secret unit, let alone, you know, being able to multi-star it. And of course you're going to see a bunch of YouTubers multi-star Dungeon Master because they're going to purchase a bunch of the capsules and sit there and open like 300-400 at a time. And yeah, again, I still stand by the fact that I feel like this event is a cash grab, which is sad because I absolutely love this episode in Spongebob. The D&D episode is awesome. Like, it's a great episode. But the fact of the matter is it has turned these characters into very much kind of wah characters in terms of viability, at least later game, where, you know, they're sitting there and they put out like a PSA, hey, you can't go in with all secrets, yet I turned around and did just that as soon as I went in. And somebody like, and like, so to say that you can't just go in with secrets is just a lie. You can go in with secrets. Literally, most players know that you need a Krusty Krab and a unit that's not a secret, and that's it. Like, other than that, you can go in with 4 secrets, like I do. 4 secrets, a Mermaid Man, and a Krusty Krab. Like, that's all you need. And you can finish the raid super easy if you have secrets. Now, if you guys don't have secrets, there are other ways of doing so without any secrets. There's quite a few comments on my video talking about the event when it first came out that talk about having multiple secrets. Mermaid Man actually is a really decent secret, or not secret, bleh, mythic. So, and also Mermaid Man's been around for a long time. So a lot of people have a lot of Mermaid Mans. So if you guys do have a Mermaid Man, I would highly recommend trying out Mermaid Man, even though they said that the damage is like a glitch, or like the damage indicator is a glitch. He still does really well, and that's why he's kind of like my starter unit for the game. But yeah, overall, I really wish that these lesser units were a lot more prevalent, kind of like the Bang Geeks. I'm gonna be honest, it reminds me that like Bang Geeks, Squidward, and Sandy were really good when they came out, which they were rares, and even the epics and the legendaries felt like they were at least decently useful. Whereas these guys, I don't know, they feel like just little add-ons that they added onto the event as consolation prizes to the event, and it really makes me sad because Planktonomore is a really great character in this episode. All of them are. And to see it all of them get cast aside for the dungeon master and like all those guys to become more of a casting is just ridiculous. But yeah, my thoughts on it is a lot of these units are pretty mid, unfortunately. But anyway, that's going to do it for this video. If you guys liked the video, as always, hit the like button, comment down below. What do you guys think of the units? Let me know what you guys have figured out, or if you've seen anything that these units can do that I haven't seen. And yeah, leave in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on post notifications so that you guys never miss a video. And as always, I hope you guys have a good day. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.